Hi, Karen Deshay, Justin's mama here again. Today, talking about parents of murdered children. We're going to touch on the nasty word that none of us can bear to even hear. That word is closure. There's no such thing as closure for the parent of a murdered child. Polite society would like to believe there's such a thing as closure, but no, there isn't. The last thing you think of every night before you lay down on the pillow is your child is dead. And every morning when you wake up, I'd like to tell you there's a brief moment, but there isn't. The first thing you think of is your child is dead. You think about your child every second of every moment of every day. A lot of what ifs, what could have been, what should have been. A lot of I wishes, I wants. So many things that are missed. You watch their friends getting married, buying homes, having babies. So many what ifs, what could have been. So many dreams gone in the blink of an eye because your child met evil face to face. Polite society would love to believe there's closure because they don't want to see your emotion. Well, I've got news for polite society. We were taught many things when we were growing up, but none of us were taught how to deal with grief. None of us were taught how to deal with bereavement. None of us are ever prepared to bury our child. They were supposed to be by our hospital bed, so we could tell them goodbye. If anyone had told me this was how my life was going to play out, I would never have believed them. Our life was gloriously boring. We laughed, joked, we had game night. We had silly string fights. We had water soaker fights. We loved to play Scrabble. We had a gloriously boring life. And I loved every second of it. And I meet so many other parents who aren't going to recover from this. Can't recover from this. Your child is murdered. You weren't there to protect them. I promised Justin in a note when he was 7 days old that I would always be there to protect him and to support and encourage him no matter what choice he made in life. The letters turned into journals, and I was going to give them to him at his college graduation. Well, he was murdered 4 months before his college graduation. So he didn't get to read all those letters that turned into journals. which I had kept for him. I think sometimes I did it more as a life lesson situation. Don't make the same silly mistakes I made. But he never made any of the mistakes I made. He was so focused, so determined, so dedicated. 4 months till graduation from college. He had 176 credits. He received his diploma posthumously. And then the college honored him with a scholarship in his name. He was brilliant. He told me at 6 he was going to be a physicist. Trust me, there is no closure. The young man who murdered my son's children, my grandchildren. He murdered my son's grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. Where's the closure in that? I don't celebrate holidays anymore. Who am I celebrating them with? And who am I celebrating them for? Parents of murdered children refer to the day that our children died, the day our children were murdered, the date. And when it comes around once a year, there is no closure. Holidays. It's all you can do to get through them. I don't have other children. I sleep. It's the only way I can make it through. I sleep. All day Christmas, all day Thanksgiving, his birthday. That's another horrible day. As horrible as the date. Closure? There is no closure. I show my emotions. The way I look at it, if people can't bear to see me grieve and show bereavement from my beautiful child, my gift from God, the fact that his story ended far too soon, they can turn and look another way. I don't have to follow societal rules. I have a mind of my own, and my heart belongs to my son. No one will tell me how long to grieve. No one will tell me that I should be over it by now. No one will ever tell me to forget my son. Justin, my constant, my son, my light, my joy, my heartbeat, my bud through all my harebrained adventures. He was my friend. He was always up for one of my harebrained adventures. Justin loved me unconditionally. Through all my flaws and faults, he loved me just the way I am. I'll never find that love again. So don't talk to me about closure. Even God says we can grieve until we die. In fact, I believe the quote is more, we can grieve until we enter our grave. Sadly, I'll be one of those people. I used to laugh all the time. Now I can't stop crying. I never knew sadness. Sadness I now see as the worst emotion any human being would have to endure. I wish I could give you some words of comfort for the other parents who are out there. I'm a strong woman, but Justin was my child. I needed him. I needed him in my life. I'm not angry at God. I've never been angry at God. I've never blamed God. He wasn't there with the gun on my son's abdomen. The devil was there with a gun on my son's abdomen. God gave us free will, and that young man who murdered my son could have turned and walked away. But he didn't. Justin saved two people. I'm so proud of him for being so brave. But I do wish he was here. I could not have wished for a more wonderful child, a more compassionate teenager, a more intelligent young man, a more brave man to call my son. But there is no closure, not for me, not for any of the mothers or fathers I speak with. Closure, it's just a word. I'll see a psychologist for the rest of my life because all I want is my son back. I know that's impossible, but that's all I want. So I grieve daily for what could have been, what should have been. And I've yet to talk to one parent of a murdered child who can tell me that they have closure, that they feel joy in their life, that they're happy. I did have a woman last week tell me that I try to show happiness on my face, and I'm good at it, but there's no happiness in my heart. Odd. She's the only person who ever noticed. Because yes, I'm very good at portraying happiness on my face. But without Justin's feet on this planet, there's no happiness in my heart. And I miss that. I'm not going to tell you I don't miss it. But polite society, they can pretend all they want. Reality is reality. My son was gunned down by a career criminal who should have been in jail not once, but twice. There is no closure for what happened to my beautiful, intelligent son. No closure. And there never will be. There's nothing that can replace Justin. Some people have said, "You have so much love to offer, why don't you adopt?" You don't trade a child for another child. I know sometimes people mean well, but the only thing you can say to the parent of a murdered child without insulting every fiber of their being is, "I am so sorry." That's all you can say unless you too are the parent of a murdered child. Because I will tell you, you do not understand. You will never understand. And anything else you say, anything, is an insult. Things like, "Aren't you over it yet?" Oh, don't even go there. Don't do it. You have other children? Don't do it. You're using your murdered child as an excuse. Oh, yes, that's a good one. I'd have to tell you, and I'll say this, that almost got my mother punched out. And I've never raised a hand to anyone in my life. If you've never had a murdered child, don't go there. Just say, "I am sorry." Because you have no clue. The pain, the angst, the heartbreak. No clue. And if you are the parent of a murdered child and you're not seeking counseling, please, please, please see someone. It will not change on its own. I'm very strong, and I've been in counseling since 3 months after my son's murder. I could not function. Please see someone. I can't do groups. Maybe you can. I have to do one-on-one. But I believe that's enough today. I didn't mean to sound angry, but it is. I am very passionate about this, about the fact that people talk out of place. I know some of them mean well, but again, if you are not the parent of a murdered child, don't go there. because all you're going to do is alienate us even further. Because this is not a place you want to ever have to go. My prayer is that you don't have to go here. No one should have to bury their child before them. It's wrong on so many levels. And I'll leave you with a quote by Benjamin Franklin. Justice will never be served until the unaffected become as outraged as the affected. Think about it. Justice will never be served until the unaffected become as outraged as the affected. Thank you for listening today. This is Justin's mama, Karen DeShay, signing off. And I hope you'll continue to listen. Tomorrow, I'm going to offer some insights how to work through the red tape of the judicial system, things they don't like you to know, time limits that you have to get certain paperwork covered and in place. And these are things they will not tell you and don't want you to know. So today I just wanted to talk about closure because it is so far from the truth and so far from the reality of losing your child to violence. God bless and take care. Be safe out there. Evil definitely walks among us.